Well, I'm sure that you can remember a time in your life where you ate so much food that you felt absolutely miserable. And perhaps you've experienced this with your favorite meal. Like it's fun to overeat in the moment, but it leaves you feeling terrible. Overeating actually illustrates really well the problem of sin that we all deal with in life. You see, we buy into a lie that life will be better if we have everything that our flesh desires. But often the things that our flesh desires are often the opposite of God's plan for our lives. And if we head down that road, it leaves us feeling miserable. Psalm 32 is our main scripture for this weekend, and it teaches us that forgiveness from sin leads to true blessing. In Psalm 32, David teaches the reader about forgiveness, and he uses his own journey to forgiveness to teach us. David was a man after God's own heart, but he had a dark season of sin. He committed adultery with Bathsheba, and he covered it up by murdering her husband. But the Lord graciously forgives David when he repents. David's story is a powerful reminder that God delights in forgiving sinners who confess their sin to God. The big question for this weekend is, what does David's journey teach us about forgiveness? The first thing is that forgiveness results in blessing. David shares a threefold definition of sin as well as a threefold definition of forgiveness, that God will forgive us, and David has personally experienced this. Our God forgives, and he forgives in full. Secondly, conviction and confession precede forgiveness. David tried to cover up his sin, but he ended up feeling miserable. Eventually, he confesses his sin to the Lord, and he commits to turn away from his sin. Third, forgiveness results in refuge. David declares that he has experienced a deep sense of peace and protection from God when he was forgiven. The Lord is a refuge to the forgiven. And lastly, forgiveness leads to instruction. Ultimately, the Lord will continue to instruct and guide those who've been forgiven. He will keep his eye on us, leading the way for us. And David concludes with sort of a funny metaphor. He tells us, don't be like the hard-headed donkey. His point is that God's people shouldn't be difficult for the Lord to persuade. We should rather be easily moved by the Spirit of God as he instructs us. Church, let us be a people of confession, and let us also be a people that are quick to respond to his Spirit as he guides us and instructs us. You can check out the full message at connectbillings.com/watch.